Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? Deja vu. I've just been in this time before. Ooh. Hello, hello. Welcome in, Jax. Have you heard about the Owl Sanctuary job opening? It's all night shifts, but they're all a hoot over there. Why do wizards clean their teeth 3 times a day? To prevent bat breath. How can you tell a vampire has a cold? You start coughing. It's not strong. Alright, we're back. Back here, outside the base. Once more. I haven't done anything really of note. But yeah, we're back here again. And just waiting on... Not waiting. We are... Actually, can I sell anything? Yes. Oh. Some extra metal shards. Love to see it. But yeah, we're going to do some couple more side quests today. One that we've marked here. We're going to go this. We're going to do that one first. And then we're going to head to the Osseram salvage camp. And then we're going to do Sea of Sands, Poseidon's coordinates. We will be doing some main story today, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But yeah, hope everyone's doing alright. Hope everyone's doing okay. I'm doing alright. Can't complain.
You look geared up for battle. Always a smart.
Can't complain, Jerks. Can't complain. Alright. You've been watching some Overwatch Nuzlocke videos. Ooh. Isn't like that's normally Pokemon, isn't it? Nuzlocke, where like if an enemy dies, you can't use that. If a Pokemon dies, you're like locked out of it forever. Right? That's what the Nuzlocke challenge is, isn't it? I'm sure I've watched a couple of people do it. I suppose it makes sense. I suppose you can do it with Overwatch, where like every time you die, you can't use that hero for that game. It's kind of wild though. Like if you play support, like if you play support or tank, like you can like you got to be good. Otherwise, you could be fucked. You know, whenever like constantly switching and stuff. It's kind of wild. Gate of the Vanquished. So we started this yesterday, where we found we found the spear place. This place, Scalding Spear. We found the problem of the water supply, and then yeah, the camp that we found yesterday as well. I think yesterday before, they were basically got annoyed and argued, and they asked for a challenge. So here we are.
You're their commander. You can stop this.
She can try.
You're here.
The hero of the cool roots.
Aloy, did you come to witness the challenge?
Does there have to be a challenge?
Oh yeah, there does.
If you persist, all of these squads will join the fights. How many will die here? And how many will die in our villages once the retaliation begins?
There has to be another way.
Listen to what she has to say. You both owe her that much.
Oh, I've got to choose a side? Ooh, interesting. I'll speak with Draka first.
Draka, you lost a lot of good people hunting machine hearts to trade for water. You want to lose more now?
But that cost is exactly why I'm doing this. Why I had to send people to find other sources in the first place. I swear to you, I had nothing to do with what happened at the wound. Ukta came to me, said he found underground leaks that might lead to another well, that's all. I didn't tell him to screw it all up and drain the wound.
So stand down so we can all talk about this.
No! No more talking, no more lies. Yara can't be trusted. That's been proven.
Okay. That went about as well as it could have. Basically, it's where someone creates a new account and they have to get to a rank of Grandmasters, and each loss as a hero, that specific hero can't be used. Oh, wow. That sounds brutal.
Yara, do you really need to do this?
He sabotaged the wound. You can't tell me you believe he knew nothing about it. And it was all part of his plan, to force a confrontation. Don't you see? This is what he's wanted all along. It doesn't matter how many die as long as he gets what he wants. Command of the clan. No. I'm putting an end to this. Now!
Well, time to choose a side. Oh, wait, I can tell them to both stand down? Oh, shit, okay. That's the thing. If I say that, it's going to just end in bloodshed anyway, isn't it? I mean, I could try. That's the one I'm leaning towards. Yep, the players that tend to do our proper. Yeah, oh yeah. I know. Say, if you're Grandmaster, yeah, you got to be definitely a good pro player, to good competitive player. So, I'm leaning more towards Draka than Yara. I think I'm gonna say both need to stand down.
Is this how you two plan to save your clan? By causing a massacre over who gives the orders? Drop this foolishness and work together.
She's right. Put away your spears. Return to your homes.
Which means she stays in charge? Forget it.
You see? Replacing me is all he cares about. It's a vendetta. And it has to end here.
For once, we agree.
Pick a side, Aloy. Because we're settling this now.
There must be a way to minimize the bloodshed.
The Tanakh never make things easy, do they?
I'm afraid not.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of want to agree with Draka, because if she kept it quiet for so long, she knew that there was no water, but she didn't. I suppose she not so much she didn't know. She didn't have the tools to find out what was the issue. But then the That's the thing, because it's one of Draka's men that went there. Was it naive of them to try and fiddle with that stuff to try and get more water, or were they innocent, or was there some sinister plot in this? But yeah, I'm gonna side with Draka.
This isn't about Draka conspiring against you, Yara. It's about your people. You lied to them about the wound. You also said their survival is all that matters. Was that a lie too? If it wasn't, then stand down. Give Draka a shot at command.
It was no lie. Which is why I'll never hand over command to the likes of him.
Then fight us. Just us. You want to save lives? Keep your squads out of it.
I've seen how you fight. These soldiers are with me.
Then we stand with Aloy and Draka. Even numbers.
I'll take no joy in fighting either of you. New rules! We're keeping it to just us. Winner takes command.
Yeah.
Damn, they saw me.
Oh boy, have I been looking forward to this.
Barely a scratch.
Wait. Huh? Ah. Wait, where is Yara? I'm so confused. Oh, is that her? Oh no. Fuck. Ow. Dude. Hello. Fuck off. Okay. I'm very confused.
This is not gonna end well for you.
Barely a wound.
Oh, there's Yara. Fucking when you say so. Oh well, that's a fucking kill. Donk. Are we gonna murder everybody else?
It's over.
Well, you gonna make me wait around?
He was like, "Yep, donk. You're dead. Thank you very much." Well, let's just hope it's not the wrong choice. Well, it probably is a right and wrong choice, but oh well.
You didn't need to do that.
Ikaro didn't, and Regala bit him in the ass.
Okay, so what's the plan? The wound still doesn't have enough water for everyone.
I'll gather the leaders from all the desert villages. We'll figure it out.
For a second there, you sounded like a real commander.
Your confidence is inspiring.
I'm
Here, take this.
guessing you get different
My
items,
thanks
maybe.
for what you did here today. You didn't have to get involved. I won't forget what you did, Desert Flame.
Firestorm Warrior Bow. Ooh. It's a warrior bow, which kind of sucks, but you know what? That ain't bad. Um, I'll change it for the blastling. Edgewater, untouched hunter bow. Yeah, we don't really need the frost blastling. That's to be honest. Got fire. Fire, lightning, and acid. That's quite nice, actually. Okay, 3 skill points. Okie doke. Where are we going? Where are we going? Low health melee, low health range. Energy surge. Why not? Jump on into backpack. Bing bong. Okay. Okie doke. So now then, I love how it's like telling us to go over here now. Activate quest. I'm gonna head down south. I have unlocked a few more rebel camps from rumors and stuff, and that's the things I've unlocked really between stream and last stream. I'm gonna Grab my fire bella back. Whee! And let's go. Let's do this thing. Oh, okay. Enough. Fair enough.
Aloy, it's Otolo. I've heard from passing scouts that the Desert Clan's new commander is dealing with trouble in the clan.
Oh.
Thanks for the heads up. Maybe I should start by scoping speed. Check on the Draca's doing.
I literally just finished that mission. They're like, oh, check on Draka. It's like, okay. Probably should, shouldn't I?
Do this. I promise. Now go get some rest.
Do you need help?
Wish I could say we've been through worse, but I doubt any salvager has had this much bad luck on a single expedition.
Salvagers. You part of Karif's crew?
Yes. Didn't think we were that well known.
So you came here to make some armor. Doesn't look like things went according to plan.
You could say that again. I thought I had it made when we found some prime rollerback salvage out here. Then came the sandstorm, blew away most of our gear, and ran us right into a camp full of angry Tenakth. We fled, but
Of
by
course.
the time the storm died down, we found ourselves here with half our food gone, open to attack by machines and Tenakth alike.
Sounds like you could use a hand. I'm Aloy.
Runda, I can't ask you to help for free. How about I hire you to get us what we need? Draw up some contracts.
You don't have to.
Wouldn't be a proper salvager if I didn't. Won't take no for an answer.
We got missing gear, lost supplies, pristine bellowback.
You mentioned this place is exposed to attack. Is there anything you can use to set up a perimeter?
We know there's a bellowback hanging around some ruins near here. Take it down without damaging its cargo sacks, and we could use it to make new traps. Set up a cordon. I'll make it a contract.
Sounds like a plan. You mentioned your people needed food.
We lost most.
Okay, I'll just like accept them all, then just bog off.
But only a bristleback would be able to sniff it out underneath all that sand.
Bunny.
It's not a bad idea. I'll look into it.
That's good to hear.
You said you lost your gear?
Yes. Can't be sure where it is, since that storm gave us the runaround. But I have a general idea. It's all in the contract. If you can get that gear back, we'd at least be able to set up camp properly. Make the crew comfortable.
I'll take a look as soon as I can.
Oh yeah, because she's
much, but
because she's a salvager. We can get some stuff off her. Ooh, now then. Let me buy these real quick. Actually, how many of these can I buy? How much can I max out? 1,000 shards? Yeah, why not? Fuck it. Okay, okay, so we got a roller back. I'm sure I need that for something.
Don't want to trade? No rust off my back.
I did trade. I bought stuff off you. What are you talking about? Ish. We got lost supplies, pristine bellowback, and missing gear. Like, and they're all around here somewhere. Need salvager. Okay. Let's go and do this thing. Oh,
Maybe I can trade this green shine.
right, let's head to Poseidon's coordinates.
Take a look at the details. This must be the ruins of Las Vegas. Poseidon shouldn't be far. The ruin looks a little more intact than some of the others out here. I don't know if I can find anything interesting inside. I say this is where I find Poseidon. The ruins out here are exposed to elements. A lot of them are buried in the sand. So maybe Poseidon is underground. If that's true, I might be able to find a way down through one of these structures.
Let's hope so. There's the ruins for a way underground. Oh, I gotta... That's the area you're giving me? Fucking hell, okay. Well, let me narrow it down here. Yep. Alright. That's how it... If that's how it would... If that's how it's gonna be. How it's gonna be. I got a funny feeling it's either this building here or it's going to be like over there.
Fire can help here.
Zoinks. Zoinks, man. Oh, that's them taken care of. I have 500 health. Not bad. I could be here a while, not gonna lie. Maybe it's the other end? I'll check down the other end. I thought that maybe it would not have a marker, but like if I scanned a certain area, it'd be like, oh, yeah, this is where you need to be. It's like,
Water's pouring out of the building. Poseidon's home? I better check it out.
Oh, there you go. It's an old, like, Chinese-style castle. Tower of Tears. Oh. Something tells me that either Silence has been here, or like those...
Something behind that top.
Or those Zeniths, or whatever they're called, have been here and...
Someone's been through here.
A lot of water. Oh, it's Osram. Never mind.
I was out of. I was so close. To drowning, maybe. Not to the embers. Morland, it's over. Well, not for me, it's not. Then you're going to die. Alone. Because we're not sticking around to fish out the corpse. We're through.
So the visionary's fate hung in the balance. Would he choose life or succumb to deadly delusion?
Hello. So, there's an ancient city under the sand, but it's flooded.
Suddenly a Norris spear maiden appeared.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, okay. Can we just stop the narration, please?
not typical Delvers. That's for sure. What's this?
I call it a diving bubble. This is the Mark 1. The Mark 2 was better, but it got stuck halfway down. Air tube snagged.
You went down in that.
Yeah, I hardly expect a layperson to understand.
Because that's pretty smart.
I'm sorry. May I remind you, you got stuck inside and nearly drowned.
It'd have to be portable, though. Machine kneecap, maybe?
Well, you'd need a filter.
Synthetic membrane would do it. The hose to a
Compressed air capsule, hammer, and tongs.
What is this? What is happening here? Get over here.
No.
She's a stranger.
You got a name?
Aloy.
Aloy.
Moreland. Not a stranger anymore.
You're a damn fool.
Come on. I got the original schematics over here.
Oh, we're gonna get the rebreather?
Well, hold on. Just a couple of questions first.
Fair enough. Partner?
Partner?
He's like, partner!
Don't mind him.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
What's so important down there that you'd risk your life?
Well...
Moreland, I'm not interested in salvage, okay? Whatever you find below is yours.
all right.
Yes, and a whole new world will open to you.
We were delving for the most spectacular treasures ever scribed by man or maid.
I'd say get to the point.
No nonsense.
I know.
like it.
A whole new world. Oh, that's not Little Mermaid, is it?
Remember.
Looks like a piece of junk.
Well, now, yes, but with a proper spark. These magnificent creations of the old ones paint mesmerizing pictures in the air, and the ruins below us are full of them. A feast for the eyes.
Hey, Lycan.
Beyond
How you doing, buddy?
This
Thank you
is
for the contribution. Oh, we're halfway there now. Let's go. I tried taking some high-resolution photos of local farmland, but they all turned out a bit grainy. What is red and smells like blue paint? Red paint. How you doing,
How'd your
Lycan? Hope you're well,
grandfather
buddy.
discover these embers?
He was here 40 odd years ago. He was one of the first to lead a delving party into the West. He discovered the ancient city around us, plumbed the depths of this very structure. He found the hollow underneath and the glowing embers all about. Took as many as he could and brought them home. He always wanted to come back and get more, but, well, never scraped up the shards. What he really wanted to do was use the embers
Okay, just getting ready for
show.
just getting ready for work. Nice, nice. Well, I hope the work goes well. Under the sea, under the sea,
True delver.
darling. It's yeah, exactly. Down where it's wetter is definitely better. Take it from me. Up on the shore they work all day. Up in the sun they save our weight.
And put on a spectacle.
While we devoting full time to floating under the sea.
Of course.
I played too much Kingdom Hearts 2 Atlantica to know that song.
So these embers project images?
Well, know the songs really.
Paintings of light. It's amazing stuff. This one.
Not my favorite Disney songs though. I would say
Beautiful woman you've ever seen.
probably Aladdin. I would probably say Hercules, Tarzan, Aladdin. Probably top 3.
100 times as a child in my old Gramps workshop.
Actually, the original one with Robin Williams. Like he was so good at Genie.
Over time.
Wow.
I cried the day that this one's light faltered. There are many more below.
Make way
If you get
for
down
Prince
there,
Ali.
Gramps before me.
Say
So
hey.
what exactly happened down there?
It was a delve like no other. A chance to follow my old Gramps' footsteps. Beneath
It's
this structure,
Prince
there was
Ali.
an enormous hollow, a dome protected from the sands. We built this elevator here to ensure
You played a bit.
easy egress and exit.
You played a bit of Disney Speedstorm. I think I've watched Sav play Disney Speedstorm.
What happened?
At the bottom.
It looks alright.
we
Looks a little bit like it reminds me of like Sega All Stars Transformed.
painted images in the air of every description.
Kinda.
Dancing women, games and coins and promises of jackpots. I don't know what that is, but it's gotta be good.
I mean, we are in Las Vegas, so
Something went wrong. The images turned nautical. Waves went through them, even fish. Like a strange underwater dream.
Poseidon's dream.
Yes. Well, suddenly there was this terrible rushing sound, and then an explosion of water erupted from the floor.
okay. Look at the parts.
There's a fully intact compressed air capsule in the Mark II, but like I said, it's stuck in the shaft.
If you made it back up alive, I should be able to swim down that far.
All right. As for the other parts, Stemmer scouted a herd due south of here that should have what we need.
I'm on it.
Great.
Well, I'm gonna grab the.
Here. Good hunting.
I'm gonna grab the thing first, probably. Dive. So will this allow me to breathe indefinitely? Because that's kind of fucking sick if that's the case. Oh, that's amazing. So it's like a rebreather in I think Tomb Raider had a rebreather.
Got the compressed air capsule.
I thought we were finally
Now,
going to get away
let's
from
all the
this
machines.
place.
Hi.
Probably get a guess list of 50. So we need at least 3 dozen kegs. Brown ale, maybe. No. For him, scrapper sap.
Are you planning a party?
Budgeting for Moreland's funeral. Thanks to you. I was this close. We were gonna move on. Leave all this nonsense behind, and you come along, and you spark your wet noodle idea.
It's going to work.
I've heard that before.
Alright, fine. Fuck you then.
I'll leave it.
Do us a favor. Leave us all alone.
Jerk. You piece of shit, you stupid hair and your stupid nose.
According to
That one
Moreland,
down.
the herd should be south of here.
Fuck is that? A drone?
A drone. Must be part of Cyclops. If I can get its data, I can reconnect it with the dome back at the base. But how to get up there?
Neat. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Turn around.
jump on that drone to get it down.
Oh, well, fuck you then. Damn, March, this game is making you aggressively savage. Yeah, well, you know, gotta be helped sometimes. I gotta release some steam one way or another. Where is it now? Okay, it's gonna come back around here. Right? Yeah. Capiche? Not stopping. Okay.
Taking you with
Thank
me.
you.
You're mine. Got it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Grab the drone's data.
Cool. Good stuff. I know you've been insulting a number of characters. Well, you know, if they're dicks, you know, they're dicks. You know, I can't be helped. I'm sorry that I have to be aggressive to people who are actual pain in the asses.
Falling gently.
You know? Sometimes you gotta just let them know.
Well, this is where Morley said the herd would be. They must have moved on. I need to
Okay.
look up their trail. Better look for tracks.
Rightfully so. I just find it funny. Well, I'm glad somebody does. Glad somebody does.
There. Tracks should lead me to the herd.
Ah.
This must be where the herd left from.
Okay, I went the wrong
Follow
way.
the tracks in the other direction.
Yes, okay, Aloy. I know how it works.
There's the herd. I should have the parts I need.
Kill the machine here. Oh, what the what? Hello? Where do you guys come from? Oh wait, huh? Bridgewater Burrower? Oh,
More machines. Deal with them first.
yeah, I gotta follow the tracks again. Burrowers. They can burrow underground. Ha 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 ha. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, you want me to kill that as well? Ah, yeah, they can do one. It's a frost bellowback. Okay, so fire arrows is what we need. Yeah, that's right. Turn around. Um. Elemental trigger. Please. 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 Alright, calm the fuck down, please. Whoa, that's an explosion. L'explosion. Whoa, no, 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 no. Okay, that's dead. Critical strike. Kill. Yeah.
Now's my chance.
Yeah, I can't get to him, but okay.
One synthetic membrane. Better check.
Machine in the membrane.
Good. I should have all the parts to build this thing now. Better get back to Moreland.
Insane, got no brain. What the fuck's shooting at me now? Whoa, 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 whoa. Can you please calm the fuck down? I am trying. Yeah, that's right. Burn, bitch. Fuck off. Thank you.
I need this.
I do not like to be jumped. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, there's rebels? Oh, right. Okay, that makes more sense now. There's just rebels fucking chilling here. Wait, is this a rebel outpost? Well, you're dead now anyway. Lol. Lol. I was not intended as a joke, but a fact instead. I mean, I say it's more of a, it was more of a fact than a joke, I suppose. Calm your tits. I will. Once people stop fucking shooting me with like 16 arrows. I will. I would like to not be disturbed. And no, I'm not down with the sickness. Okay. Wait, was there medicinal stuff here? Oh, hang on. There's a chest down below. Oh. Oh, cash. Just gotta pry it open. Nice. Hammerburst Bolt Blaster. Ooh. What are you? Yeah. Not even purple, so I'm not even worried about it. I need a purple. Okay. Right, can we...
What can I do for you, partner?
I have the parts.
I've got everything I need to build the
The incredible diving mask.
I think diving mask is enough.
Yeah, I think diving mask is enough.
The workbench is all yours.
A rebreather is going to be lovely. Nice. Oh, I can upgrade a pouch. Let's go. Oh, bolt blasters? Yeah, let's go. Ammo crafting. We've got more ammo for the bolt blaster. That's always nice. Upgrade. Oh, Tanak the Vindicator. Pardon me. I should probably do with selling those.
Whoa. There's a marvel. If it works, you'll let me try it? I want to get down there and get those embers.
Assuming I don't drown.
Mm.
So what are you really looking for down there?
It's hard to explain. Something that caused a malfunction in the apparatus that controls the old city. I think it started the flood.
Well, I thought we started the flood. Like we sprung a trap. I don't know how we were detected. Like I said, the dancing lights around us changed, turned to sea life. There was this flash of red, and the roar of water surging in.
Wait, a flash of red?
A red light from a spot near the grate on the floor where the water burst through. It was like a beacon.
Or a warning. Thanks. That might help.
I hope it does. And good luck down there.
Okay. Time to see if this thing works.
You know what? I'm just going to talk to you just to... Oh.
What now?
I want to sell stuff to you. Trade.
I'm always willing to engage in some commerce.
Yeah. No, it's me. Adhesive. Okay. That's warrior bow though. Osserum Striker. Ooh, that's like a big puffer jacket. I mean, if worst case scenario, if I don't have much money, I could just sell all my traps. I do like that outfit though. The Tanak skirmisher looks real nice. Looks like something out like something Darth Maul would wear if he was in this timeline. Bye.
I'll be going.
Finally.
Yeah, I know I can add coils. I just need to remember to do them, that's all. Check. Got one on the bow. Oh, the purge water bow. Yep. Is there a way to add purge water damage? No. Just do that. Ice storm. Oh, reload speed. Yes. Yes, I want reload speed. Jesus. A bolt blaster? God damn, yeah. Right, let's go. Wish me luck.
So far, so good. I can actually breathe down here.
This is amazing. The fact that I can fucking breathe underwater is amazing.
Diving mask seems to be holding up. I've never been able to swim this deep before.
Ah, whoa. Oh, projections. That's... La la dee, la la la. Hmm. Yeah, I can I can see
Must be Poseidon's doing it.
the locked points for the coils and stuff. I just need to get the right. I just need to get the right machine parts, and I can upgrade them properly. So.
That looks like a way out. Poseidon's down here, somewhere. Gotta find where it's hiding. Whoa! No way I can fight that.
Hide Ripper.
I'll have to be careful.
Okay, so I gotta avoid that.
This place is massive. And all of it's encased in a dome.
Sure is. It's the dome from the actual dome from Las Vegas. It's the dome.
Door on the other side. And it's got the side on the floor. The machine's flying in. First. Set this off at lightning before the clock machine. There. Red light.
You can see a red light. Doopy-doo.
Alert. Critical flooding detected. Automatic drainage controls offline. To execute an emergency purge, manual reset of primary and secondary pump nodes is required. The purge can then be triggered at the pump maintenance station.
If I do this purge and drain all the water, I can fight that big machine on dry ground. Looks like I have to reset a couple of pump nodes first. According to the map, there should be an access point for the first node south of here. More machines down here. I'll have to swim around them.
Fucking okay, alright. Gonna be one of these like stealth missions. Let's just hide here a minute.
Stay still or swim for it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Here's the access point. Should lead me to the pump node. There must be a whole network of these tunnels down here. Water lines for an entire city.
Yeah, no, I know it makes sense because I can't find the water. That makes a lot of sense.
I can't reach the ledge from here. Maybe there's something I can climb to get out.
Nice. Do 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 boop 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 boop.
Let's get rid of this.
Held it. Oh, handbrake. Apologies.
There. One node down. Better swim back up and find the access point for the second node.
Oh. Oh, nice little stretch break time. Oh, oh dear, dear. Right, okay. You've been another minute or so of ads, so just get your stretches in while you can. Now is better time than any. Oh, I still have my rice cakes from earlier. Oh. Oh, that's not good. The chocolate's melted and it's gone really like soggy. I mean, it's still edible, but yeah. We'll just leave that there. Ugh. Anywho, welcome back from this, everybody. Let's stealth swim our way back to where we need to be.
According to the map, the second node should be on the other side of the dome.
A chill.
Shane doesn't like fire.
Shame we're underwater.
There's no light in that tower. Just like at the console I found earlier. That might be the maintenance station. But how to get in?
It's a problem for future me. Don't really know where they are, but okay. Right there. Yeah, move along.
Another access point. Should get me to the second node.
Ignite this fire gleam, otherwise this thing's not gonna move.
Okay, let's see if that helped.
Open the valve.
Okay, I've taken care of both nodes. Now I just need to activate the emergency purge at the maintenance station.
Which we know where it is, so that's fine. I literally swam past it. Nope, you didn't see me. You didn't see me. No, 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 no.
Good time to pull out shock ammo.
You top down? Dune Hollow.
It looks like part of this building collapsed.
Uh-huh.
There might be a way in.
Ha 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 ha. Ancient cluster?
I think I'm in the maintenance station now.
Oh, fucking bright, innit?
The console to activate the emergency purge.
To guide my way.
This looks promising. There should be a console in here.
Here we go.
There. Time to dry this place out.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
That did it! Okay. Now I can deal with that machine guarding the door on the other end of the dome. And once I get past it, I can get to what's waiting on the other side of the door. Poseidon.
The god of the seas.
I guess the purge didn't get rid of all of the water.
I mean, it makes sense to get a rebreather when we're trying to find Poseidon, because water and stuff. It's
Let my kid try at least.
changed a lot, isn't it? Huh.
Purge these machines behind. Could sneak by them. Deal with the big one first.
I think we'll sneak by for now, and then just as soon as we get rid of the big one, I can. Big ultra boy.
Okay. Poseidon is through there. But where did that machine go?
Probably burrowing.
Aloy! It's a miracle! Was this you? Did you lower the waters?
Yeah, but there's a new problem. That thing's in our way.
It's a whale, a machine whale.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult to get the embers with that around.
As the scrappy band of adventurers beheld the beast,
God.
they did what they had to do.
As
Are you crazy?
I sit there and salivate my meal, I deliciously tuck in, feasting on its contents. Who's this guy? Fucking Hannibal?
And start firing when I engage.
And Hannibal Lecter's joined the party. He oh, he angry.
Places. Get to that overhang.
Okay, so ice and lightning. Okay, so bolt blaster, go. Not a happy bunny. I mean, it's not a bunny, but still. Hey. Let's... It reloads so much quicker with that thing on. Nice. Let's go, baby.
Aloy! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! You did it!
Dead.
Come on, gentlemen, get a move on.
Gotta talk to them, and there's the door again. Go find the Loch Ness monster.
You guys all right?
Yeah.
More than all right. We did it! All the embers we could ever want, and it's all thanks to you.
Very, heartwarming. But maybe we can just, you know, grab what we came here for and get out before any more of those things decide to show up.
Now, shard counter. Nothing wrong with a little reveling. Though we should probably let our flame-haired friend get going.
No, he's not.
I believe she has business down here.
Oh wait, he's not even like in the ring anymore?
Right. Of course.
Oh.
You need any help?
I can handle it from here.
Very well. We'll start taking some of the embers upstairs. Holler if you need us.
Thanks.
That was probably the easiest one of us, even though it was obviously a large machine. It wasn't the hardest challenge I've had so far. The Thunderjaw was a lot more
Time to bring it home.
challenging than that. And some of the Apex ones as well actually were tougher. But I can see how much of a problem it could be, for sure. But then I'm probably way over leveled at this point.
I'm getting close to where Runda's crew lost their food rations.
I?
You said only a bristleback would be able to sniff them
The
out.
fuck? I'm underground.
I think that can be arranged.
Bruh.
There. I should be able to use that console.
Cover Poseidon.
I'm here to bring you home, Poseidon. To Gaia. Elizabeth Sobek. Alpha Prime.
Master override activated. Restoring Poseidon's subordinate function to original code.
Get in and get out, right? Piece of piss.
Gotta bring this back to Gaia.
Oh, goody. It just says return to the elevator shaft, which definitely means that something bad's going to happen.
System reboot initiated.
Looks like taking Poseidon triggered a restart of the city's power system.
I mean, that's a...
Crew must have headed back up top. Thought the embers looked clear, but
Something bad's going to happen. I just feel it in my bones. Like, there's anything going to turn up and like, you're going to give us Poseidon. And it's like, okay. Fine. I guess. How do I get up there? Oh, yeah, I'm good. It's like a Chinatown, isn't it? Chinatown. Sorts. I'm just in a full loop. Gengar. Ooh. Do it.
An elevator. Moron must have built this before the place flooded. That still work. Be nice not to have to climb back up.
Be nice indeed. I don't want to say you spoke too soon, but yeah, I spoke too soon, didn't I? For it. For it.
He did. It must have powered up the whole.
Oh wow.
Oh, show my old Gramps always wanted.
There's another.
That's cool.
His dream realized, his old Gramps' legacy ensured. Our hero beheld the sea of desert lights and wept at his good fortune.
When I saw the embers as a child, I never dreamed they could be like this. Thank you, Aloy. Well, did you find what you were looking for?
I did. And now I have to move on.
Oh. Come back when you can. I got big plans for this place.
I thought you wanted to put on shows with the Embers back in the claim.
Oh, no. This is the show. Oh, can you imagine? Folks from all over the land coming to take it all in. Plus some food and a nice place to stay.
Not to mention a variety of entertainment venues.
Don't forget, games of chance. Plenty of shards to be had there for certain.
A new dream, huh? I hope you make it happen. Goodbye, gentlemen.
This delve is a story for the ages. All thanks to you.
We are the bad guys. So, clunk.
If Moreland and crew's gonna stay, maybe I should come back and check on them later.
Turn to base. Oh boy, I sure hope nothing bad's gonna happen when I return. Okay.
For now, I need to get Poseidon back to Gaia.
Yeah, let's do that first.
Might want to look around before I head back. And with my new diver mask, I should be able to swim as deep as I want to.
I feel like, but then, do I do that? Because sometimes you get. Well, last time I think we didn't get locked into something, but we got ended up doing something else. I don't want to just turn it in now that I've got it, you know. What we'll do, we're going to turn in the sub function. Deliver Poseidon to Gaia.
Welcome
Welcome back, Aloy. I see you have recovered Poseidon.
Aloy, can you come downstairs? Beta has something you need to hear.
Oh, goody.
Okay. I'll be right down.
Aloy, I have managed to unlock additional rooms within the facility.
Got it. Okay. Data module's in.
I better talk to Beta first then, shouldn't
I'm back, Gaia.
Oh, wait.
Hello, Aloy.
Hello.
What would
Hello.
you like to discuss?
Progress?
I'll be off.
Farewell.
Let's go. Let's go see Beta. He's like, oh my god, you've made no progress. Oh my god, I can't believe you don't run and jump like an animal. It's like, even though you've only got 2 legs. You're so much more fucked than you should be.
Hi! Happy birthday, Isaac. Daddy sure does love his little big man.
She found that recording from the data on your focus. She's been watching it a lot. I think it helps calm her.
I mean, am I wrong? She said that last
I used
time.
to watch this a lot too. Whenever I wanted to take my mind off things.
Daddy sure does love his little big.
But there's something you need to tell me?
While you were gone, I came
Pink,
down here to check on
good to see you.
Then we started talking. Right, Beta?
How are you?
She's been thinking about how to capture Hephaestus, studying the data Gaia gave her. But we started talking about some other stuff. You know, just getting to know each other, right? And then she told me that one of the Zeniths might be different from the others.
Tilda. You saw her at the Hades Proving Lab.
Go on.
On the way to Earth, the Zeniths never showed their faces. My servitor caretaker referred to them as my benefactors, and promised I'd meet them someday, when I had learned enough. And then, one day, a data channel opened in my training interface. In it, Tilda was waiting for me, in a virtual replica of a house on a cliff, overlooking the ocean. It was beautiful. She showed me paintings, books, media files. We met there in secret many times. But a few months later, it stopped.
Can you tell us why, Beta?
I found some data about Tilda at the Hades Proving Lab. I think she was the liaison between Far Zenith and Zero Dawn. She knew Elizabeth Sobek, that's for sure.
Maybe that's why she reached out to you?
Maybe. I'm sick as a dog. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Pink. Hope you're doing much better than I am. I'm doing good. I'm doing okay. I'm not sick, so that's a plus, I guess. But I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you get better soon, Pink. Good to see you as always.
What else can you tell us?
Oh, how's the new job going? I know you started that recently, didn't you? Hope it's going all
What
right.
about herself? Did she ever talk about her life on Earth, how she joined the Zeniths, something like that? She never said much about herself, and she hated it when I asked too many questions. But I think back on Earth, she was an expert programmer, Given that she built a data channel the others
I had to call out today and yesterday, but other than that, it's going well.
anything else about her
Oh
that
yeah.
might be able to
I mean,
use?
it makes sense because
She was
you're
the first
sick
real
and
person
unwell,
who ever
so.
bothered to speak to me. I
But-
wasn't really assessing her for strengths and weaknesses.
I'm glad it's going. I'm glad it's going well. Otherwise.
You said that Tilda reached out to you using a data channel? It appeared in my training interface as another assignment. When I opened it, there were a series of intermittent glitches. I realized they formed a transpositional cipher.
Whatever that
Instructions
means.
on how to open up a new virtual space. When I entered it, my training interface disappeared. Instead of the usual holographic teachers and files, I was in a perfect recreation of her home. And you're sure the other Zeniths never knew about it? To them, it looked like I was still in training, toiling away, alone.
Pause for dramatic effect.
So this secret virtual space looked like a house with an ocean view? I could see white caps.
I got a house with an
waves
ocean view.
crashing on rocks below.
It's very nice.
And there were gulls crying outside. Inside, Tilda had
Well, from my
frames
bedroom window, I
showing
can see the
her
sea.
favorite
Anyway.
paintings, changing at intervals to match the light. There was an armchair she liked. She'd sit there and gaze outside while I looked through her things. We spent hours in that house. I never wanted to leave. You said Tilda showed you paintings and let you access media files? Every time we met, she showed me a new painting. I think she was Dutch. All of her favorite pieces were from their golden age in the 1600s. Portraits, allegories. she
Interesting.
could see. She had so many.
Not a
Didn't interest
shot
you?
of the game or anything.
I liked her media portal.
Said Hades and she went
It had
Golden
so much
Age.
more than my training interface. Clips, shows,
Hmm.
holos. My favorite was this one called Second Time Around, about a family whose kid comes back after disappearing during the Hot Zone crisis. Right, but did this portal have anything about the Zeniths themselves? Anything we could use? No. Any information about them was redacted. So Tilda set up a secret virtual space where she could talk to you, a house on a cliff. Then later, she cut you off. But other than the fact that Tilda knew Elizabeth, you don't know why she did those things? I don't! Okay? I thought of every possible reason that would make her leave, but whatever I did wrong, I don't know what it is. When I finally met the others, she ignored me. Acted like the data channel never existed. None of this even matters. Tilda's the same as the others. It won't help us defeat them. Okay. Let's leave it at that then.
What's wrong?
I'm trying, Garl.
Smooth.
She is tough to take. I'm out there in the wilds, risking my life every day, and all she can do is hide in there and tell us how hopeless it all is. I'm sorry she's had a rough time, but she is really not helping right now.
You always seem to be on top of everything, so I sometimes forget about what you've been through. I mean, it wasn't that long ago you were so banged up you couldn't even walk. About that. When I pulled you out of the water back near the proving lab, you were muttering Rost's name. You never talk about him. But he raised you, trained you. You must miss him a lot.
Of course I do. But I don't have time to think about that now. I need to get back out there.
Okay. I'll keep working with Beta. Gaia says she knows a lot about Zero Dawn. And maybe she just needs some time to adjust, and then she can help us with Hephaestus.
Sure. But I won't hold my breath.
I thought she'd go back in there like, fuck you. and then walk back out again. That would have been funny. Just so looking like that. Just close the door again. I mean, Aloy would do that. I mean, not would do that, but I wouldn't put it past her doing that, to be fair. Badass that she is. Oh no! Sorry, Pink. Lissy got away. Can I do any overrides? No. Okay, cool. That's fine. Ball's room. Oh, didn't she restore another room or something? Why, this
Looks like Gaia was able to unlock that door. There's a lot of equipment in here. Gaia, what was all this for? According to this console, there are still thousands of plant samples stored deep below the facility. I could ask Gaia about them the next time I talk to her.
Gaia, what is all this? She just cuts her off. She's like, no, I don't want to talk to you. Nah. Is that all the rooms unlocked now at that point? It is. Pretty much. Okay. 5 skill points. Okay, let me pump some skill pointage. Regain weapon stamina faster when you are in a critical health state. I'm not really fussed about that. Doesn't he? Machine grapple strike. Ooh. Oh, glide targeting? Yeah, I want that. So downtime and quick draw your weapon while aiming during a glide. Yeah. So want that. Okay, so main quest we just got Demeter. Okay. So in that case, I'm gonna do the salvage stuff. I think. Yeah, we'll do this. We'll do the salvage quest, salvage contracts, and anything else that's in the area. The one that's right here, pristine Balabac. Yeah, we'll do this one actually because we're right next to it.
That Bellowback run dimension should be close by. I should look at the contract just to be sure.
It's an acid one. Yep. So what did she? Let's see. Bellowback's cargo sack should help them set up a defensive perimeter. The data point copy. Salvage contract. Underwater done unlimited without destroying its cargo refining sack or gullet. Oh, someone's just using purge water weapons and or ammo to help with this. So I can't shoot the back thing and the neck. Okay, which is like the two main things that I gotta that I shoot. God fucking damn.
I'm gonna have to be careful.
Oh, you sure are, Aloy. Sure are. Overshield. Yeah.
Can't hit that.
I know.
Intact.
Shot it by accident, Aloy. Please. I'm trying my very best. Can I recommend something in this game? You can. You most definitely can. Oprah. Is it getting good?
Got it. I should let Rhoda know. I think we want to salvage that cargo sack.
Nice. Okay. Go on the map. Okay. I am on the map. Oh, I am on the map. Look for the toll next location. What? That one? Or the one over here, maybe? Is it one I've discovered or one I've not discovered? Probably the better question. Was a quest there? Oh, that's the camp, isn't it? Oh, that's the camp where I found Talana. Yeah. Not discovered yet. Okay. So, here. It's the stand of the Sentinels. Got 2 left? Yeah, got 2 left. Yes, that's the one. Okay, yeah. If I can put a waypoint on it, I can center. I can't travel to it. Ugh. What do you want me to do with this one? Yeah, so I've got landfall and then the stand of the Sentinels. That's to get. Oh well, left to unlock. Well, to discover, and then I still got this one. I need to do at some point because I need a way to go skyward. I need a grapple hook, like a proper grapple hook, like Batman sort of style grapple hook. Go to one of the cauldrons. Okay, so that would be one or is it 2? 1 or 2 I haven't discovered. Oh, there's one here. I'm guessing I have to discover it. Head there. What, this one? This one here. The one at the very top. That's right. Okay. Can I hold off on that for like 5 minutes while I do this other thing? Then I can go there? Like, does it have to be right this second? Or... Yeah, I can... To be honest, I kind of forgot that was there, if I'm being honest. I can fast travel from another place and then head there. You can hold off. Okay. Okay, so go to the Gears last known location. I need a Bella back.
Does it? Let's see if you can help me find those rations Rhonda needs.
Okay. I need to find the rations. Which next one is find the origins of the ornament. Oh, okay. I need to go north and to southern. Okay. Yeah. I'll do this. It's 9:15. Yeah. If I have time, I will do it. But I appreciate you reminding me that there's a cauldron there. I like the look of them. Apex ones? Come on. Right past you. Yes, I know I just scanned an extra powerful variant. I know. I'm well aware. Probably pick up by next stream. I probably will. Probably will. You're not wrong.
Dig out the containers. Just get it off. Let it do its thing. Let's see if we get lucky. I think it's detected something. Looks like we found something. Thanks for the help, buddy.
How you doing?
Rations. Barely enough.
How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
I should check the other
Long time no
locations,
see.
See if I can find more.
How's things been treating you? Oh, it's alright. Work's just working as usual. Nice. Hope it's not too crazy for you. I'm glad to hear you're doing alright. Ow. Now my eye is hurting. Ow. Good to see how you doing lately. Oh, not bad. Not bad.
Get off this bristleback.
Could be worse, you know?
Alright, buddy.
Could be
It's up
worse.
to you now. Tell me you got something.
Could be worse. Just playing, you know, started Horizon, so that's always nice. I actually watched something on Disney Plus over the weekend. I watched X-Men '97, which was a lot of fun. I normally don't watch TV shows or something like that, but good watch. Horizon's going great. It's going great. I'm enjoying it so far thoroughly. Especially the visuals. The visuals are like stunning. Like it's ridiculous how good this game looks. Like, actually ridiculous. For I know it's a PS5 game, so it should do, but still. I mean, I said, yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's. I know it's only done one season so far, and I think they are doing a second. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the first season. What are you trying to do? I'm doing the salvage contracts. So this will be the last one for the second. No, okay. And then we got one more ruins to look at, and then I can do the cauldron.
Oh, this place. I should try to find Runda's rations while here.
I dismounted it way too late, apparently. It's stunning. Like, it's amazing. I've only taken one screenshot, but there's been a few times where I've been like, fucking hell, this game looks amazing. Please be it, please be it, please be it, please be it. Yes, yay, yay, nice.
Yes. It looks like most of Runda's rations are here. I should take this back to her crew.
Nice. So just got a ruin to go into, and then I can turn all that in, and then I can go to the cauldron. Oh, hi. Okay, so that's the ruins I gotta go to. Still sounds. Oh, is it? Is it? Ooh. Now you're asking. Oh no, it's not. It's over here, isn't it? Yeah. I'll pick up a side quest from here as well while I'm in the camp.
Have I got news for you, Red?
Everything okay there, Porgif?
Ah, my steel flame friend, behold.
Oh, your lockbox. The one I found in the tunnel.
Just the one. It was bequeathed to me when my dear ma passed. Never could get the damn thing open, but the lock must have broken off when the rockbreaker attacked. Haven't seen its contents at long last. I want Martha to have it. My sister. She could use it more than me.
Hold on. If it was given to you, why couldn't you get it open?
I lost the key. You know how it is with small objects, big hands. Not that you know how it is exactly. I mean, your hands are dainty, of course. No, not dainty. Well forged. That's it.
Porgif.
All right, I stole the box. It was supposed to go to Martha, but I just wanted something of my ma's to remember her by.
So the box rightfully belongs to your sister, and now you want to return it. What was inside that made you change your mind?
Nothing. I just thought she'd want it back. She and my ma were close. Me, well, guess you could say I was always the stray spark.
All right, Porgif. Sounds like you want me to give this box to your sister. Where is she?
I'll lug it around for you. Don't worry about it.
I know she was working in Chain Scrape Lab.
Oh, that's actually quite nice because that's somewhere I can fast travel.
I have a friend there. I can ask her.
But I won't do it right now.
Ah, well forged and well connected.
It's just it's a good reason to go back there, I suppose. Yeah, I'll just tuck it away in my pouch.
I will try to find your sister. At least to hear her side of the story.
Okay. Well, if you see Martha, tell her I still remember the flying keg.
I'm sure you do, buddy.
Petra would know where I can find Martha. I should pay her a visit the next time I'm...
Broken locks.
Chain scrape.
Actually, can I upgrade anything? I'm out crafting. Nope. Alright. I'm out of here. See ya.
think Renda's crew lost their gear somewhere in this area. That must be the cart the contract mentioned. But whatever gear it was carrying isn't here. I should take a closer look.
Looks like it broke for a start.
Whoever took the gear did a number on this cart.
Actually.
Maybe my focus can help me figure out what happened. Claw marks. Might be from Glinthawks.
Oh, goody. Oh, goody.
Wonder how long these gusts can keep it up. More claw marks. Bigger ones. Maybe a sunwings. Whichever did this must have scavenged the gear left in the cart. If I give it something else to scavenge, I can lure it back.
Oh, hello.
Follow it to its nest. I think I found my bait.
Hey, buddy.
Somewhere to hide. It's nice. So it was something. If I want to find what is here, I'm gonna have to follow it. Quietly.
It just fucking flew into me and was like, "Yep, nah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." Yeah, that should have been. It's there. Like, I just follow it now, I guess. Oh, come on. I'm not looking. I'm not looking. Don't worry. Alright, fine, fine, fine. Don't.
It saw me. I need to lose this thing now.
I mean, it saw me for like a minute. You just eaten 15 slices of watermelon? Holy shit. Isn't that not like the whole thing? Holy moly. Oh, ad break. Apologies, everybody. I'm going to follow this thing and then I'm going to pause it. Okay, now what? Have to wait for it to piss off again, or? Oh, okay, yep. Are you gonna grab the? No, you're not gonna grab the thing. Oh.
This must be the Sunwing's nest. Let's hope Brenda's gear is here.
Quickly.
That's Oseram gear, all right. I better get out of here before the Sunwing comes back. And get this to Runda's crew.
Probably a good idea. Alright.
You're back.
Oh. Okay, I'll wait for the ants to... I think it's just about to finish now. And then we'll turn these quests in, and then we'll head to the cauldron.
Hey, Aloy. Have you looked into any of those?
Alright, welcome back, everybody. Okay, let's turn these in.
I got what you needed, and took down that bellowback we talked about. You should be able to salvage what you need and set up a perimeter now.
This is everything. Our gear, our food. I can't thank you enough, Aloy. You just saved my crew.
I'm glad I could help.
Looks like we'll be able to make our way back to No Man's Land as soon as my crew is strong enough.
Let's go.
But I was wondering, the rollerback salvage I was gonna use to build the armor, I lost it after we ran into those Tenakth. I was hoping you could find it for me. Otherwise, all of this would have been for nothing.
Do you have any idea where it might be?
I marked the area on your contract. I know it's not much to go on.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
Thank you, Aloy.
It's too bad Runda couldn't make the armor she wanted.
Some nice stuff. So that's just the last one, then. Rollerback salvage. Okay, level 26. Oh, I got a sunshot hunter bow. Ooh. I mean, sounds nice. All the way down there. Okay. But let's go all the way up here for some shenanigans. Ah. Let's head to this cauldron because we haven't been here yet. I haven't really just been. Well, the areas that I like grayed out are like pretty much areas that I've not been to. I haven't unlocked the full neck here yet. XP though. Not enough to level up though. Got some snapmores. I'm gonna have to like I get there on. Oh yeah, I can get that by machine. Deep Slasher Convoy. Thank you.
Thanks, guy.
I'm not going to question it. Not going to question it. Apex Leap Slasher? Oh, okay. Hey. Can you politely fuck off, please? And you vanished. Oh, no, don't hit my pellet. Oh! Don't hit my pellet back, please. I want to try and keep it alive. Oh my god. Damn, that 5 Butterback's just kicking ass.
Carven door, but different. I want to hack it open. I'm gonna have to find some other way in.
Yeah, that's the top, isn't it? So... I was in the right place before. Oh.
This crevice is massive. As if the earth split open fast. Must have been an earthquake.
Nice.
I wonder where this leads.
Well, I hope it goes to the cauldron. It does.
This must be the cauldron I couldn't get to above. Looks damaged. Earthquake must have hit here too. Almost intact.
Okay.
Not worried about running out.
So we're here then. Oh. Uh-huh. Wait. Hold on. I thought as much. I thought that would be the loot area. This is the continue on the cauldron. Okay.
Is that a forge? Looks like it's making machine parts. I'm here.
Oh, hi. Ape slashers unite. Hey, level 32. Let's go. This is the most unique cauldron you've been to? I mean, so far, yeah. It's the fact that we've had to enter it from a different area. Well, I suppose no, we've done that before, but like, it's all like broken. It's not like, yeah. Wait, who are you? Of course. I mean, it's raptors. Jet. What's Jet doing in this game? The jetpack raptor. Ow.
Those forges. I might be able to climb them to get to the other side.
Okay, so I can... Come on, Aloy, please. Haven't got much time. Haven't got much time. Okay, yeah, moving platforms. I gotta jump to. Yeah, okay, okay. I mean, it's unique with these machines because I've never seen these machines before.
These things keep moving closer together.
So,
And jump might be enough to get me to the next one.
I pressed circle and then I pressed square because nothing happened, and then it dropped and it did like 2 in succession. Like, come on now. You. Go. Note to self, don't press the square button at any point in time. Kind of reminds me of Jack and Daxter. Like Jack 2. More specifically. Platforming around a facility of some sorts. I know it's completely not that, but... Thank you, Aloy. Find the core.
There's something behind this broken glass. Maybe I can bust through?
Nice. Volatile sludge. Got a lot of that, haven't I? A lot of volatile sludge. Oh, an apex burrower. Nice.
No point using fire against that.
Spike snout. Oh boy. Somebody's gonna die. Oh, Aloy. Okay, I am now. Critical strike. Nice. More volatile sludge. Damn, done. Again. Shoot. Is that because it's an apex version?
That looks like it can get me up to the vent. Ready for anything now?
Cauldrons are a good challenge. I mostly enjoyed them. Yeah, me too. I never had a problem with cauldrons. You can grapple hook onto machines to do a critical hit. Isn't that a skill you need to get? Because I haven't unlocked that yet. But yeah, I always remember the cauldron in Zero Dawn where you fight a Thunderjaw and it absolutely fucking terrified me. And that was probably the most challenge I've had. Probably. Top of my head anyway. In terms of the Horizon games. I remember just seeing it and I'm like, oh no, no. I was like, I want to get out of here. I want to get out of here. I want to get out of here now. Oh. Let's make it a tall egg. Huh.
The earthquake must have interrupted the process.
Muy interesante. Okay. So am I fighting one? This looks like the core.
Just have to expose the core and get those overrides.
Yep, that's why this cauldron's unique. Ah, right, because of what I'm fighting. Right, okay. I thought you meant the actual, like, layout. I was like, maybe? Well, no, I mean, that is unique that we're actually fighting a Tornag. That's kind of nice. Oh, I've got a roller back to kill first. It's weak to acid. Okay. Womp 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 womp. I am fine. That's one way to take that out. Oh, this fucking malarkey. Wait, why am I shooting? Did I change to frost arrows? I don't remember doing that. Alright, 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 alright. I want the tail. There we go. Right.
Time to get those overrides.
Alright. Where is... I say, where's that fin gone? Oh, that's lightning. Please don't kill me. Where's that tail? I want the tail. Yes, I know I have unused coals and weaves. Yes. I'm well aware.
Time to get some machinery.
Okay. That was probably the easiest one. Like ever. And it wasn't even that long either. It was like 2 rooms and then it was like, yep, done. So Glinthawk, Leap Slasher, Lancehorn, Longleg, Boar Strider,
More incomplete overrides.
Skydrifter, Bellowback, or normal Bellowback. Wait, no, not Bellowback. Ravager, Snapmore, Rollerback. Okay. That's a lot. That's a lot I've just unlocked. Oh, well. Okay, now I can't go up because the tall neck's in the way.
Be a tall neck blocking this platform. I'll have to find a different exit.
Can I just climb it? No? Okay. Alright, fair enough.
Looks like there's room underneath the core. Maybe I can squeeze through. Does it? Fall. Taking the front.
Wasn't so bad. Chosen! Yo! Thank you for the raid, my dude! Oh, my knee is now. Give me a chance to get some water. How was your stream? How was Mafia? Hope it was good. Hope it was good. Founding the boys member. Let's go. Bum, 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 bum. I'm doing alright, Cousin. Doing alright. Can't complain.
_outlaw raided my stream with 2 viewers.
Can't complain, you know. Challenging but good? Hell yeah. I've heard the first one. I think is the first one the best one of the 3. Maybe 1 or 2 out of the Mafia games. But yeah, welcome in everybody. I'm Wash Bandicoot. I am currently doing a first playthrough of Horizon Forbidden West. We've just done a cauldron and we are now trying to find our way out of said cauldron. But yeah, just chilling out. Doing it. It's a first playthrough, so no spoilers, obviously, at all. And well, story-wise anyway. But yeah, I normally do single-player games Monday to Friday-ish, and then Friday overlapping into Saturday, Sunday. I kind of do multiplayer streams or collabs if I can. And yeah, we're hopefully going to be back to more Elden Ring co-op at some point, either tomorrow or Saturday. And yeah, should be a good time. But yeah, I appreciate the raid though, Look Chosen. If you need to head off and do all the post-stream stuffs, like say take a drink, stretch, water, and all that stuff, get something to eat, then please do, please do. I don't want to hold you up. If you need to raid and run, that's totally fine. For those who want to stick around, that's perfectly okay too. I'd love to have you. And yeah, let's say we're just trying to make our way out of the cauldron. Where did you come from? And yeah, so I appreciate you. I appreciate the raid again. Appreciate you popping in, Chosen. Always nice to see you. Everyone go follow Chosen. He's a cool dude. And a member of the boys. Good friend. Overall, nice place to be. This game does look cool. It is very cool. Like, graphically, it looks amazing. Stunning game. Absolutely stunning game. Like if you have a PS5, it's definitely worth the purchase. 100%.
These vents should get me across. Right?
I'll do. Hey, Royal. Gonna have a good stream. Oh, that's just that's not Chosen. Yeah, you've you're not in the place you were before. Good to see you, Royal. You're doing all right. Well, I fucked that up. Didn't realize Aloy was like Tomb Raider. Sheesh. Oh. We need to time this better. There we go. Nice. Good to see you, Royal. Let me give you a shout out as well. Okay. Help you get to affiliate, hopefully. Hopefully you're pretty close to that now, Royal. Especially a 4K TV with 120 Hz, this game will look even more better. It would, to be fair. Not wrong. You are not wrong. Release the torment. Well, shit. Okay. Mistakes were made. Not gonna lie, with all the upgrades I've done for Spear, it's made it a much more viable option in combat. $120 Hz TV's access to balance mode. Gotcha. I see. Gotta get up there somehow. Gotta go all the way around, probably. Wasn't looking. Okay, it's fair. Nice.
I think I can drop down and time it right. Now.
Thank you for the prompt, Aloy. Appreciate it. This is our way out of this flying spaceship.
Uh-oh. Company.
Fair enough. That's what happens when I stand still for too long, I suppose. That's fair.
Uh-oh. Company.
Fire canister burrower. How many versions of this thing do they have?
Covered in acid.
Oh. Hey, don't you shoot that at me, buddy.
Go past that shield.
No, sir.
I think I can hear the head being repaired.
That's okay. I can jump back on it. That'd be nice.
Head's in place. Big guy's fixed.
Yay!
That alarm's keeping it in place. Maybe if I override the tallneck, the shockwave will break it free.
Sounds like a solid plan, Aloy. Sounds like a solid plan.
There's nothing.
Well, I hope this works. Oh, well, there's no power in here now. Oh, no, there is. Let's go. Whee! And that is how you do it. Surprise, there's another tall neck. I know, it's crazy. Wait, no, that was the same tall neck. Because it was on the same platform as it was the one in earlier. So it's the same tall neck. But there was another one on the map.
Feels good to breathe some fresh air again.
Okay. Nice. Cool. Okay, there's a salvage contractor there. Good to know. Good to know. Okay. So blood for blood. Oh, I can do that now. I can search rooms for the security console. I can do that now. When you look at the map, you wouldn't know that. No, because it's hidden inside the cauldron. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you wouldn't know that's there. But because of the cauldron, it was one. There was one. So I'm gonna head back over. I'm gonna head over here. Because now that I've got the rebreather, I can finally finish this quest off. Well, I have a lot of points. Get at it from a different angle. Yep. Whee! Down we go. See, I can actually breathe underwater now. Lovely stuff. Ah, there we go. I think I found the entrance. Sweet. Beep boop.
It's a Horus, Hernon. Just broke through the perimeter.
Erica, the mobile cover prototype is in the vault. All three keys are required to override the lockdown. Can you bring me the one from your security console right away?
Okay. Just don't get killed before I get...
Oh, yeah.
Erica? Erica!
Yeah, she did.
Sounds like I need 3 of these keys to get to the mobile cover system. There's coordinates for another console on file. I should check it out.
Go to the coordinates on the console. Oh, it's over there. At least I've done the underwater section. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Let's go back to Chainscrape. Speak to Petra. My good friend Petra. Do I have any food? I do have local stew.
Seat's always open. So what's new, Aloy machine hunter?
I'm looking for someone.
Hey, I'm looking for an Osram named Marsa. She might be working here in Chainscrape. Do you know her?
Marsa? Yeah, of course. Tough gal. Puts her back into her work. Not like the drunken louts around here. Why are you looking for her?
I met her brother out west. He asked me to return a family heirloom to her.
Huh. I didn't know Marsa had a brother. Anyway, last I heard she was doing a job out by those old Karja signal towers.
Ooh.
Northeast of here.
I've already been to a load of those.
Ostrom family squabbles ain't pretty. Best of luck wading into that muck.
Yeah.
See you around, Petra.
Until next time.
Okay. Okay, so northeast of here. Ah, that's not too far away. Okay, I can ride that. Ooh. Oh shit! There is a little stream there. Water.
Petra said Porgov's sister should be working around here. I have a feeling she won't be thrilled to hear from her brother. But at least she'll get her lockbox back.
That is something, at least. Hello.
Marsa?
Yeah? What's it? Oh, the Nora maid. How do you know my name?
Hello.
I, met your brother Porgov out west. He asked me to give you this.
Mama's lockbox. That miserable chuff stole this from me. By the forge, he broke the lock too.
Actually, that was from a rock breaker.
Oh, so he's dead then?
No. After he saw what was inside, he wanted you to have it.
Oh, then I guess guilt finally caught up with him. Let's see here. A jewel. Surprised he didn't pocket it for himself. And a letter. It's from my mom. Her last wish was that I make amends with Porgov. That doesn't make sense. Porgov caused her, all the family, so much grief. Always running off to chase easy shards instead of helping Dad at the forge. Why would I want him back in my life?
If Porgov read that letter, then maybe he wants to make amends too. He also asked me to tell you that he remembers the flying keg.
That lug. When we were kids, we used to grab a metal panel and slide down this big hill. But one day, Porgov got the idea to use an old keg. He climbed inside and off he went. Only, he didn't stop at the bottom of the hill. That keg kept rolling with Porgov still inside, right off a ledge. You'd think the keg sprouted wings the way it soared. Then splash! Right into the lake. Thought he drowned for sure. But he lugged himself out onto the shore and shouted, "Again!"
Sounds like a good memory.
Think that might be the only time I can remember us not fighting. Just lying there by the lake, laughing till it hurt to breathe. When you met my brother, did he look okay?
As well as you can expect for someone out in the middle of the desert. You could see for yourself.
Nah. I mean, I heard some folks are headed out that way, but I don't know. I'll think about it. Thank you for bringing me this. Here, for your trouble.
Aww.
Thank you. If you decide to go, you'll find your brother at a place called Camp Nowhere.
Of course he'd end up nowhere.
Is it now? 10 past 10. Okay. Okay, I got 11. Yeah, I noticed I got 11 thingy my bobbies. Skills to put to good use, so I'm going to do that now. I'll probably just finish off Survivor, to be honest, at this point. Low health defense. Low health melee. Or melee, whatever you want to fucking call it. It was the one with the shield. Was it this? Yeah. Machine grapple strike. Hey, look at that. We've unlocked Hunter's Mark. Powered by a special mode in your focus, your next several shots of any hunter bow will mark your targets. Marked targets have an increased chance of receiving critical hit damage. Destroy a target's components to cause an explosion that deals extra damage. Ooh. That's nice. Okay, so I don't have to touch that. Inability to craft and deploy drop shields. Okay. Low health stamina. Okay. Stealth resonator. And that could be nice with the warrior bow, actually, or the hunter bow, because I do use a lot of hunter bows. Equip that. Why not? I will upgrade it. Level 2. To be honest, like, I think, like sharp shot, yeah, that's cool. Smoke bomb capacity, I'm not really fussed on. Yeah, medicinally, like, yeah. So, okay, I might unlock drop shield or crafting drop shields. That might be handy. Of that next, and then yeah, then just Warrior's Instinct. Yeah, don't know. Not much. There's not much skills that I'm like intrigued or I really want to get at this point. I mean, was it 10:15? Oh, I think you know what? I think we'll call it there. I think. I think we'll call it there. I think what else we could do. There's nothing we can do quickly. We can do more of these. So drowned hopes. Need to know. Second verse. Wait for Zoe to complete the reboot. Valley of the Fallen. Okay. Yeah, there's not really much else. I mean, there's a lot of rebel posts and camps that I could do. And ruins. Yeah. Could try the melee pit, the melee pits. Well, to be fair, now we've unlocked more of we've got Rebel Outpost, we've got a salvage contractor to do as well. Now in the greens well. We've got a Rebel camp, the Hive. There's another Rebel camp there, Devil's Grasp. Another one there. There's the ruins, the Still Sands. Couldn't find the origins of the ornaments. Oh, right, yeah. I think any ruins you go to, you get those little embers that you can give to the guy, the Ossurum here. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, got the roller back salvage. Okay. To be honest, with like the rebel outposts and stuff, I might just knock them out between streams. I think maybe the outposts I'll do. Maybe the camps will do on stream because they're bigger versions. But like the outposts, I might just knock them out when I got free time. Maybe. Let's see. We shall see. I say, well, we've unlocked a bit more. So what's that Tornek for then? We can unlock more over here, maybe? Yeah, so now that we've done all that, we just got, was it Poseidon? Oh, Demeter to get left to do? Yeah. So, for story-wise, we've got to start exploring, like, here. Okay, racetrack, meet Talana. We can do another cauldron. The rollback salvage is down there. Okie doke. Well, let's head to base then. Yeah, no, I know. I haven't forgotten that. I know you've played the game. Oh wait, why am I on the eastern side? Oh. West, yeah, why am I on the eastern side for? But yeah, no, I totally get it, Jax. Say, this, you don't need to tell me every, I know you've played the game and whatnot, so don't expect you to spoil the game for me. I'm only just saying things out loud. Sure, I will unlock it in due course, and all will be revealed. But yeah, so we went from level 30 to level 32. So we did a couple levels. We got a couple levels today. How are we doing? Oh, we're nearly level 33 actually, so that's not bad. But yeah, we're gonna call it there. I might just knock out some outposts to fill some time, and just to kind of not make it so monotonous when we do side quests. We just we're doing like salvage stuff, or we're actually doing quests, and not just running to a place and just doing it, and like killing enemies. Like we'll do the salvage contractor. We'll do the rebel camps. We'll do the rollerback salvage. We'll do this as well. We'll do this. We'll go here. Ground Hopes. We'll do that quest. Kind of. Yeah, because the salvage gives you skill points and XP, so. And that gives us a bow, so. Then all the hunting grounds so far. I do need to do the melee pits. The arena I need to do as well. Have a look at again. There's 2 rebel camps, 2 rebel outposts. a ruin. Yeah, plenty of stuff to do. Plenty of stuff to do and not enough time. All right, let's get on out of here. Okie doke. I think I know who we're going to raid tonight. We're going to raid Kira. Kira Berries, part of Team Highlight. I think she's part of Inray's team as well. She's doing Witcher 3, first playthrough. I said she's really cool. Met her through Georgia, I believe it was. Yeah, Georgia and Carly and whatnot. But yeah, she's going through Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and I believe she's in. Is it Velen, the big city with Triss, or is it Novigrad? I can never remember. I can never remember the place. But yeah, we're gonna go say hi to Kira. Another UK streamer. Like I said, a place I do like to hang out in. So yeah, we'll start the raid. I say I appreciate everyone coming in. Thank you for the raid chosen. As always, lovely to see you. Thank you everybody for chatting, chilling, lurking, all that good stuff. Oh, I spelled that right. Yes, I spelled that right. Thank God. And yeah, I will hopefully see you all next time for more Horizon. And he said Forbidden Horizon West, which is not the name of the game. But yeah, I hope to see you all very soon. Hopefully tomorrow, same time, same place, for more Horizon Forbidden West. Friday tomorrow, shit. And then, if not that, it'll be Elden Ring. So yeah. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. And I will see you all on the next one. Good night.